difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Paul Denning, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the Tribune Sentinel newspaper from February 13th. Issues of the Tribune Sentinel covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours looks to affirm ownership of Lewiston waterfront property. Village of Lewiston named in court document, but not intended subject of action. This was written by Joshua Maloney. Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours has authorized court proceedings seeking to confirm its ownership of Lewiston waterfront property it now leases from the Village of Lewiston. Roach, Lennon, and Brown, PLLC attorneys Christopher Brown Jr., J. Michael Lennon, and Robert Ziske Jr. submitted paperwork February 3rd in Niagara County Supreme Court for a summons on behalf of their client, Niagara Gorge Jet Boating Limited, doing business as Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours. The complaint notes this action is brought pursuant to Article 15 of the New York Real Property Actions and Proceedings Law to, quotes, compel the determination of claims to real property. Specifically, the plaintiff contends Niagara River Water Lot 5, Water Lot 6, and part of Water Lot 7, the boat staging and docking areas, have an uninterrupted chain of ownership dating back to the 1830s. Excuse me. And continuing today via Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours. Possession was verified in the abstract of title and confirmed through a land survey. The Village of Lewiston is named in the complaint as it is the overseer of said state land. Though a lease to use the water lots was agreed upon between the municipality and WJBT in November of 2002, the plaintiff contends that throughout the term of the contract, it, quotes, made required lease payments to the village under protest and with a reservation of rights without admitting the village's right to lease the premises or any interest of the village therein. To date, plaintiff has paid the village over $400,000 in lease payments which were wrongfully received. Moreover, quotes, plaintiff has also paid the village over $125,000 in village real property tax on the premises. In addition, plaintiff has paid over $575,000 in county and school tax assessed against the premises. The lease is set to continue until October 31, 2042. The complaint describes the existence of, quotes, an actual justiciable controversy that, quotes, exists between plaintiff and defendants concerning the scope, validity, and enforceability of pre-existing easements that suggest the village has, quotes, the right, privilege, and easement for the use, installation, and maintenance of a public recreation area, including docking for 30 boats and appurtenances thereof, though the village rights do not include, quotes, authority to lease, sublease, or collect rents or payments for use or enjoyment from adjacent upland owners, including plaintiff's upland premises adjacent to the Niagara River. The complaint continues. Pursuant to CPLR 3001, plaintiff seeks a declaration that 1. The easement is invalid, void ab initio, or unenforceable as against plaintiff's fee interest. 2. Defendants possess no lawful authority under any easement to lease, sublease, charge rent, or impose fees upon plaintiff or the premises. And 3. Any rights claimed by defendants under the easement that purport to burden or encumber the premises are extinguished. Furthermore, the complaint states the village possessed no lawful authority, whether under the easement, under state law, or through any independent property interest, to lease, sublease, license, or confer possessory or landlord rights in the premises. The village's claimed authority rests solely on the easement, which conveyed no such rights and expressly preserved the superior fee and riparian rights of adjacent upland owners, including plaintiff. Because the village lacked any ownership, possessory interest, or delegated statutory authority in the premises, the village could not create, assign, or enforce a lease concerning the premises as against plaintiff's fee title. Pursuant to CPLR 3001, plaintiff seeks a declaration that the lease and any purported renewals, extensions, amendments, or assignments are void, ab initio, unenforceable, and of no force or effect as against plaintiff, and that the village has no authority to assert any landlord, lessor, or possessory rights in the premises. The plaintiff seeks title to the premises free of all claims and seeks money damages for wrongful payment of rent, or in the alternative, wrongful payment of taxes and extinguishment of the lease and easement interests. In an email, Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours President John Kinney stressed the dispute is ultimately with the state of New York and not the village of Lewiston. The municipality is named because it's proper to list all parties who have a connection with overseeing the lands in dispute. Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours has commenced legal proceedings regarding its long-standing property ownership of the waterfront lands in Lewiston, New York, Kenny said. As this is an ongoing legal matter, we are unable to comment further at this time. We remain committed to our operating responsibly within the community and respecting the judicial process. The popular Whirlpool Jet Boat Tours operates seasonally at 115 South Water Street, Lewiston. Next article, RRG, application denial to landfill hazardous waste disposal at CWM, now final. Residents for Responsible Government announced Chemical Waste Management's 4-month period to appeal a denial of expansion pursuant to New York CPLR 217 has lapsed. Gary Abraham, attorney for Niagara County, the town of Lewiston, and the village of Lewiston, entities opposing expansion, confirmed, quotes, "The limitation period expired on February 3rd, one day after 4 months after the DEC's final decision, dated October 2, 2025. CWM first applied for a permit in 2001 to build a new 6 million ton hazardous waste landfill in the towns of Lewiston and Porter, next to one that operated until 2015. In October 2025, the New York State Hazardous Waste Facility Siting Board unanimously rejected the CWM application, as did the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Commissioner Designee. Our Community One, RRG, shared in a press release, "It was a 25-year fight, but thanks to the commitment and resolve of residents, the towns of Lewiston and Porter will not become a national dumping ground for toxic waste." The naysayers wrongly said the all-volunteer Residents for Responsible Government group could never defeat an application by a $25 billion company. However, we succeeded against Waste Management, Inc. and its subsidiary, Chemical Waste Services, LLC, CWM. On Monday, September 29, 2025, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation shared the decision rendered in the matter of an application for a Certificate of Environmental Safety and Public Necessity pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 377, which is siting of industrial hazardous waste facilities by Chemical Waste Services, LLC. The 50-plus page document states the remaining exceptions an argument of the parties related to whether the proposed RMU2 is otherwise necessary or in the public interest, and finds them to be without merit. Based on the discussion above, the Siting Board agrees with the ALJ's administrative law judge recommendation and concludes that CWM failed to meet its burden of proof that the proposed RMU2 is otherwise necessary or in the public interest. The Siting Board, however, is compelled to take the ALJ's recommendation a step further and conclude, based on the discussion above, that the siting of the proposed RMU2 is not an otherwise necessary or in the public interest. Accordingly, CWM's application for a siting certificate is denied. The document added, based upon the foregoing, the Siting Board affirms the ALJ's administrative law judge recommended decision subject to our comments above, and concludes, 1. There is no current or near-term need for increased capacity for hazardous waste management, such as the proposed RMU2 landfill in New York State. 2. The proposed RMU2 landfill does not conform to the siting criteria established for such facility pursuant to ECL 27, 1103, and 6 NYCRR 377.7. Number 3. CWM Chemical Services, LLC, failed to demonstrate by a preponderance of the evidence that the proposed siting of the RMU2 landfill is otherwise necessary or in the public interest. And 4, the proposed siting of the RMU2 landfill is not otherwise necessary or in the public interest. Based upon the record of this proceeding, CWM Chemical Services LLC's application for a Certificate of Environmental Safety and Public Necessity is denied. Waste Management said it is evaluating future plans for the site. RRG stated it took 25 years of public and or adjudicatory hearings for the state agencies to determine what we knew all along. The CWM site was unsuitable, and the other 17 hazardous waste landfills in the U.S. had sufficient capacity without CWM, and there were no public benefits justifying the permanent risks to our community and the Niagara River. At the time of the initial announcement, Niagara County Legislator Irene Myers said CWM is prevented from constructing a new hazardous waste landfill in our community. The health and safety of our residents has carried the day. It has been a long process, but I am so happy how our community never wavered in this long battle. This has always been about protecting our children and grandchildren from the consequences of bad, short-sighted environmental decisions that previous generations have had to live with. She added, failure to obtain a siting certificate, as has now happened, prevents RMU2 from going forward. Instead, CWM must begin final cleanup of the site. Here's an article submitted by Lisa Bielmeyer, Public Relations Specialist from Orleans and Niagara BOCES. Dan O'Grady, a junior in Jeff Brown's computer technology program at the Niagara Career and Technical Education Center, and welding student Aidan Hewitt, also a junior at the center, were having lunch together at Niagara Falls High School when Hewitt started choking on some food. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Quotes, we were sitting at a table with our friends just laughing, and he was making a strange noise, and I realized something was very wrong, O'Grady said. My instincts just took over, and I ran behind him in the chair and reached down and started doing the Heimlich maneuver. I was pushing hard on his stomach, and I just remember thinking, I hope I am doing this right. O'Grady had never been trained on how to do the first aid method, but had seen it performed on television. I just went on instinct, he said. Everything seemed to go in slow motion. A lunch attendant ran over because they thought we were fighting. I was trying to explain what was going on. I was so relieved when Aidan started breathing again. They took him over to the nurse's office. I was shaking so hard afterwards. I think I was in shock. Hewitt was also dazed by the incident and very thankful that O'Grady sprang into action right away. Quotes, we've been friends for a couple of years, and we were just hanging out. And next thing I felt something lodged in my throat, he said. Dan just jumped up from the table and ran to me. I was really scared and just so grateful that he helped me. It was very scary. Brown said he is very proud of O'Grady. He is just a great kid and a great student, and we are very impressed with his quick response to save his friend. Next article is written by the editor-in-chief, Terry Duffy. Lewiston Town Board hears of roof leaks at library. Lewiston Town Board members received some unsettling news about the Lewiston Public Library at its Monday work session. Library Executive Director Jill Palermo, accompanied by board member Fred Queso, visited and advised Supervisor Steve Broderick and the board on some much-needed roof repairs. Queso said the library, located at 305 South 8th Street in the village of Lewiston, is contending with 5 significant roof leaks. Library officials gave the town a damage figure of $5,000 in preliminary repair costs for inside the structure. Quotes, "We have more tarps on our books in the library this past week than we've ever imagined," Queso said. He noted the leaks have been affecting library operations for weeks due to the extreme cold, and library officials are fearing a warm-up will only make matters worse. Broderick and town building department officials visited the library recently and found the problem was much worse than feared. Quotes, "They got up on ladders and stuck their heads through the ceiling tiles and identified, unfortunately, more problems than we ever thought we had," Queso said. He attributed the problem to construction issues when the library was built. The library was constructed in the early 2000s and had its formal charter issued in 2008. Queso said the library is now in the process of contacting its insurance carrier and contractors. "The building's old and it's leaking like a sieve," he said. Queso said Palermo has been struggling to get a handle on the situation, quotes, "and it hasn't been easy." Palermo said the library is attempting to address the leaks the best it can. She said, "They put tarps up. We have a lot of damp carpets. Even there's water on some of the walls." Palermo said the library has been contending with poor insulation issues underneath the roofing from the time of its construction, which has worsened the leak problem. She and building code enforcement officer Tim Masters contacted the original roofing contractor with mixed results. Quotes, "It kind of sounds like they don't want to do anything more at the library," Palermo said. She added a second contractor has since been contacted. Quotes, "We're just on that list waiting," Palermo said. "I just think at this point, with everyone having probably roof issues, that all these companies are so busy and we just have to wait for them to respond." Broderick said the library, quotes, "is a municipal library and that the town would fund any work. We're going to try and help out as much as we can," he said. "These are all energy costs, which we can use our town energy fund through NIPA, and hopefully with Ed Zimmerman and Tim going up there, they saw some major issues, even with insulation." He noted town officials determined the building had design flaws from the time of its inception. Quotes, "We'll follow up, and if we come up with a solution, hopefully it's not incredibly expensive, and we're able to help," Broderick said. Mail theft. Lewiston Police Department Chief Michael Salata reported on a, quotes, "busier than normal January with more than 1,300 calls and 45 arrests. He noted a new problem is affecting residents: stolen mail from mailboxes. Specifically, quotes, "checks being stolen from mailboxes and being cashed." "We do have several suspects for the several cases that we took, but we're encouraging residents to bring lost, stolen, discarded, or found checks into the post office or hand it to the mail carrier. Salata advised residents not to return the checks to mailboxes. Essex Homes. Attorney for the town, Alfonso Mera Bax, updated the board on changes with the Essex Homes development on Upper Mountain Bronson Roads above Lewiston Hill. He said the town is now dealing with adjustments with former developers, the Rubino brothers, following the town's appointment of Mike Weiss as Lewiston Highway Superintendent. The plan was, for all respective purposes, different than the one that's before the town today, Bax said. There were a number of formalities that the developer should have done with stormwater and drainage district. They did not. The second developer came in and took over. The project made some changes. Bax continued. For the challenge perspective, the original proposal was kind of off the table. Tim Masters and I had spoken a number of times trying to get the new developer to pick up the pieces where the old developer left off. Bax said the current developer, quotes, advised me they're more than willing to get that drainage district formalized and adopted and filed with the county clerk's office. They want us to redo the public hearing for purposes of that drainage district. Following some discussion, the town board approved a public hearing on the matter to be held at 6 p.m. Monday, February 23rd. Residency requirement. That will be the board's second public hearing scheduled for the evening. As scheduled is consideration of local law number 3 of 2026, designed to establish residency requirements for the appointed office of deputy town clerk and or deputy tax receiver. According to Bax, the issue centers on the status of the deputy town clerk and whether or not that individual is a resident of the town and duly qualified. He said the town clerk, in a review of viable candidates for the position, identified several who qualify, but who are not residents of the town. Quotes, so as a compromise, I reached out to the Association of Towns. They said so long as we could designate one of the clerks or deputy clerks as a resident, the others can kind of differentiate between the positions, Bax said. This law allows the clerk's office to propose candidates for the position from adjoining municipalities. With that, the town board approved the hearing. It will lead off the regular monthly meeting. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Erie County Sheriff's Office report. Thursday, January 29, Whitehaven Road. Assist person. Complainant requesting assistance on the procedure to obtain a pistol permit application. Deputies provided contact information for the Erie County Pistol Permit Office. Friday, January 30, Grand Island Boulevard. Accident. PDO. Complainant reports a vehicle backed into their parked car. Driver exchanged forms provided to both registered owners. Saturday, January 31, Grand Island Boulevard, larceny. Complainant reported a subject exited a store with a shopping cart of unpaid groceries. Deputies located the subject and charged the subject with petty larceny. Subject released on an appearance ticket. Sunday, February 1. Long Road, Pin Oak Circle, animal loose. While on routine patrol, deputies spotted a loose dog. Deputies were able to reunite the animal with its owner. Monday, February 2. Tiller Trail, nuisance correspondence. Complainant seeking advice on how to handle unwanted communication from a family member. Deputies assisted and offered multiple solutions. Tuesday, February 3. Stony Point Road, assist person. Complainant requests police assistance while retrieving personal property. Assistance provided without incident. Wednesday, February 4. Riverdale Road, vehicle off roadway. While on routine patrol, deputies located a vehicle that had left the roadway. Deputies checked on the driver, who had AAA on the way. There's an article and photo by Benjamin Joe, who's the senior contributing writer. Pelicano's marketplace looks to add extremely unique experience with future expansion. Pelicano's marketplace sits at 3338 Niagara Falls Boulevard and has since 2020, after moving from its original location because of a lack of space. These days, the specialty grocery store is facing the same challenge. With an eye on giving the customer the ultimate experience, Chris Pelicano, manager of the store, said 20,000 square feet will be added to the store to give more space for shoppers, as well as more space for equipment, so employees can better serve customers' needs, and, quotes, finally a bakery and a cafe. The biggest thing is more space for the customers to shop, he said, but also spaces for the staff. We want to make it more efficient for them to work, give them some more equipment. They don't work inefficiently, but just by giving them some more equipment, it would make their job a little easier. More slicers, specialized ovens, fryers, special pasta cookers. According to Pelicano, the expansion will also come with hours good for 50 full-time jobs. Pelicano said parking will be expanded, perhaps doubled from the 70 existing parking spaces. On top of that, a small storage building may also be erected to house specialty items imported from Italy. Pelicano said he wants to bring foods directly from Italy and announced the shop has already started to sell Tuscan olive oil imported from a farm in Tuscany. Pelicano's will also sell pasta flour from the importer, which will also be utilized to make pasta right inside the marketplace. It'll be the closest thing to getting pasta from Italy. The only thing is, and it would be funny if we did, is if we imported Italian water, Pelicano joked. Other in-house foods will be fresh bread from the bakery for an expanded choice of bread, in addition to all the other brands the store carries, as well as sandwiches, which will taste like the customer went to Rome and ordered one from a local shop. A cafe for espresso and perhaps gelato is in the works too. While it is hard to project when the remodel for the store will be complete, Pelicano said it could be done by spring of 2027. In addition to what's been mentioned here, the makeover is hoped to include a space for musicians to play and workshops on how to make a variety of dishes, including how to make pasta right from flour to dough to strands of spaghetti and spiraled rigatoni. We would love to have a little space so we can have some musicians, 1 or 2, 3-piece band, playing in the store while people are shopping. Offer an extremely unique experience, Pelicano said. We want to be able to offer classes. We want to teach people. This is how you make pasta from scratch. This is how you can your own olives. This is how you make your own wine. Currently, the design for the addition is being prepared by Troutman Associates. It will be in front of the town of Wheatfield Planning Board at a future meeting. Next article was submitted by Niagara County Legislator Chris McKimmey. Chris McKimmey announces re-election bid for Niagara County Legislature. Niagara County Legislator Chris McKimmey formally announced he is running for re-election, citing a strong record of results, trusted leadership, and a continued focus on public safety, affordability, and economic growth. The announcement was made at his monthly Coffee with Chris community forum on Saturday. McKimmey, a lifelong Niagara Falls resident and father of 2, currently serves as chairman of the legislature's Community Safety and Security Committee and deputy majority leader. He also serves his community as a Niagara Falls police lieutenant, an Air Force first sergeant, and holds a degree in public administration. As a member of the county's Economic Development Committee, McKimmey has played a key role in advancing economic growth across Niagara County. He has supported projects ranging from large-scale investment, including the Amazon Fulfillment Center set to open this year, to direct support for local businesses that focuses on both job creation and job retention. McKimmey helped champion the county's facade improvement program. Countywide, these programs delivered millions of dollars in assistance to small and local businesses, along with nearly $1 million in production program grants to strengthen manufacturing and production-based employers. 11 businesses in McKimmey's district benefited from these programs. In addition to his legislative role, McKimmey served on the board of directors of the Niagara Orleans Regional Land Improvement Corp. Land Bank, where he works to address vacant and abandoned properties and strengthen neighborhoods. He also serves on the board of directors of the Niagara Community Action Program, supporting programs that reduce poverty by promoting self-sufficiency for families across the county. Public safety has remained a central focus of McKimmey's work. Drawing on his background, he was a driving force behind expanding Niagara County's ambulance service to provide 24-hour county-wide coverage, helping ensure faster response times when residents need help most. Quotes, "When public safety is one of the biggest concerns for families, it matters who is making these decisions," McKimmey said. It makes sense to keep experienced public safety leadership in the legislature. McKimmey has also been a vocal advocate for affordability, speaking out against state-approved utility rate hikes, the rising costs associated with the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, and unfunded state mandates that shift costs onto counties and taxpayers. "I'm proud of what we've accomplished, but I'm not finished," McKimmey said. "I hope I've earned the opportunity to continue serving Niagara County." In the news, Niagara County Department of Health to host Heart Healthy, Life-Saving Workshop for Community. In recognition of American Heart Month, the Niagara County Department of Health is proud to announce a special Heart Healthy and Emergency Preparedness Workshop open to the public on Tuesday, February 24. This session is designed to transform bystanders into lifesavers by providing residents with the essential skills needed to respond to cardiac emergencies and other health crises. Heart disease remains a critical threat, but immediate intervention is the ultimate game changer during a cardiac emergency, said Dr. Fauzia Khan, Public Health Director. Through this training, we are empowering our residents with the confidence and skills to be the first link in the chain of survival for their families and neighbors. Legislator Jesse Gooch, chairman of the Niagara County Legislature's Community Services Committee, emphasized the importance of community-wide readiness. Quotes, "A healthy county is a prepared county," he said. This workshop is about more than just information. It's about giving every resident the tools to save a life. We want Niagara County to be a place where everyone is ready to step up when it matters most. I thank the County Health Department for continually hosting community outreach events like this that bring programs and services right to our residents. Workshop topics include hands-only CPR, learn the vital skill of chest compressions from certified instructors, AED essentials, learn how to safely and effectively use an automated external defibrillator, opioid overdose prevention, learn to identify the signs of an overdose and how to administer naloxone, Narcan. All attendees will receive a free Narcan response kit. Heart health and risk awareness, learn the key warning signs of a heart attack and actionable steps you can take to reduce your risk factors for heart disease. This course is free. No prior medical or emergency experience is necessary. The free event will take place from 6 to 7 p.m. Tuesday, February 24, in NCDOH conference rooms 1A and 1B at 55 Stevens Street, Lockport. Use door number 7 on the east side of the building. Individuals are encouraged to register in advance to assist with planning. For questions regarding this training, contact Director of Public Planning and Emergency Preparedness, Tracy Fricano-Chalmers, at 716-439-7431. Next article is on the opinion page. Help is available. Energy bill credits expanded to more NYSEG and RG&E customers. Moderate income customers encouraged to sign up for Enhanced Energy Affordability Program. New York State Electric and Gas and Rochester Gas and Electric are encouraging moderate income customers to apply for a new energy affordability program that can help lower bills this winter. The Enhanced Energy Affordability Program is designed to help moderate income households reduce their energy burden by providing monthly bill discounts directly to their energy bills. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Tribune Sentinel, covering Niagara County and Grand Island on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cold weather is here to stay, and EEAP is another option to help reduce the impact of a customer's bill, said Christine Alexander, Vice President of Customer Service for NYSEG and RG&E. Quotes, innovative ideas like this help customers and communities we serve. At the same time, we continue to encourage everyone to research options that are best for them to control their bills. This winter, customers are seeing higher electric bills due to several factors beyond the control of New York's utility companies. Greater transparency is helping New Yorkers understand what is driving affordability concerns, including unregulated supply costs and state-mandated programs and fees that together can make up more than half of a customer's bill. These are costs unrelated to the poles, people, and wires that keep the lights on and the homes warm. Supply costs are pass-through charges, which means the utility is required to purchase energy on the market and deliver it to customers at the same price it was bought, without adding any markup or profit. Prices move up or down based on market conditions and a customer's specific supply plan, not decisions made by the utility. Top energy producers have raised supply charges on New York customers by over 100% from 2020 to 2025, overtaking the rate of inflation in New York of 21%. EEAP, launched in January, is a 2-year pilot program created by New York State that can help moderate-income NYSEG and RG&E customers reduce energy costs through discounts on their bill. Households are eligible for EEAP if they have an income below the state's median income and do not qualify for the company's energy affordability program. The discounts received varies based on what type of energy you receive. The Home Energy Assistance Program, HEAP, and EAP are still available for eligible customers. While HEAP and EAP are designed for low-income customers enrolled in other assistance programs, EEAP is intended for moderate-income customers. Customers can apply directly for the program by calling 877-400-2501. If approved, enrollment will be shared with NYSEG and RG&E, and a credit will appear within the next 2 billing cycles. Next article on the same opinion page. Piper provides updates on latest historical pieces acquired and Lewiston Cemetery editions. This is written by Russ Piper, Village of Lewiston historian. Hello, everyone. I am pleased to offer an update on my recent projects and acquisitions to the museum collection. I've been fortunate enough to have received some artifacts pertaining to the Great Gorge route, historical books in addition to those I acquired on my own. The biggest additions are a letter from my 7-time grandfather, the Honorable Sherborne Blake Piper, to the then governor of New York, which was donated by Tom Collister, curator of the Lewiston Historical Museum. It is located in the main hallway, as well as artwork and assorted ephemera pertaining to the history of Lewiston. The collection is continuing to grow on a regular basis. I will gladly offer tours to those interested in viewing my personal collection. With encouragement from Mayor Welch, I donated the historical painting of General Adams to Fort Niagara. The general served at the fort from 1813 to 30. The painting, acquired from the family estate, will be on display in the fort for all visitors alike to appreciate. I am still hoping to complete the Veterans Monument to be placed next to the flagpole and memorial bench at the Lewiston Cemetery. I have chosen a gray granite monument that will accommodate the 67 veterans from Lewiston who served from the Revolutionary War through the wars culminating with the Vietnam War. Many of their markers are broken, fallen over, difficult to read the lettering, or just so badly weather-worn as most of them are of soft marble. Excuse me. The monument is on a polished base. It is also polished with unfinished edges to represent not only their service, but as a memorial to those whose lives were cut short in battle. There is room to add additional names should the need arise in the future. With the donations I have received to date, I am in need of raising $2,000 for the monument and installation in the Oakwood section behind the old stone church. I am hoping to be able to have it in place for a Memorial Day blessing and dedication. In collaboration with the village, the newest project is the addition of a columbarium to be placed under the oak trees in the Oakwood section of the cemetery on the Seneca Street side. There will be 24 niches consisting of gray granite and polished black granite faceplates. Installation is anticipated for April or May, depending on ground conditions for installation. We will be discussing availability and costs associated with it once it is in place. Again, I am hoping to complete my Veterans Project at the same time for a dual blessing and dedication. In the interim, questions may be directed to the village clerk's office. At this time, it is in the construction process. It will be delivered to Niagara Monument Works for storage until installation. The Veterans Monument I have selected is on display in the front window if anyone wishes to view it in person. This is the final piece for my last project. My focus will be on the cemetery grounds and its preservation, and I will continue to acquire pieces for the museum as well as the preservation of the history of the village. After much back and forth discussion with the village board, it was decided to also create a memorial garden. As a seventh-generation descendant of a prominent early family, I have volunteered my time over the past 5+ years to clean and restore it. This is a practical way to make sure the cemetery will be utilized and allowed to continue to provide a final resting place and to remain a working cemetery into the future. I wish to extend my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to those who have so generously donated to my previous projects. I hope I will be able to fulfill my desire to place a fitting memorial to our Lewiston veterans who are a part of the village history. Anyone wishing to donate to finishing my project may make donations at the village clerk's office or by mail. Checks may be made payable to, quotes, Potter's Field Monument Fund. Again, thanking all of you from the bottom of my heart for your generosity and support in the past. I hope it will continue to allow to have the monument in place for Memorial Day. For now, I remain Russ Piper, Village of Lewiston historian. Next article, Lewiston Council on the Arts press release. Lewiston Council receives $13,500 grant from Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Arts and Culture Initiative. The Lewiston Council on the Arts is pleased to announce it has been awarded a $13,500 grant from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Arts and Culture Initiative, administered by the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo. This grant will enable the Lewiston Council on the Arts to invest in staffing, training, and organizational infrastructure to strengthen its fundraising capacity, ensuring the organization can continue providing high-quality arts and cultural experiences for the community. Quotes, "We are incredibly grateful to the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Arts and Culture Initiative for their generous support," said Maria Fortuna Dean, Executive Director of LCA. "This grant is crucial because it supports our work of creating connection and improving our community's quality of life through the arts." The Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Arts and Culture Initiative was established at the Community Foundation to support arts and culture in the 8 counties of western New York, plus Monroe County, in recognition of the key role arts and culture organizations play in a thriving economy. Part of that announcement includes $500,000 in annual funding to be awarded primarily to support small to mid-sized arts and cultural organizations in the 9 counties. In addition to producing the nationally recognized Lewiston Art Festival, the LCA presents a year-round schedule of events, classes, lectures, and musical and theatrical performances, providing tens of thousands of residents and visitors opportunities to experience the arts, culture, and history of western New York. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the February 13, 2026 issue of the Niagara County and Grand Island Frontier Radio Reading Service. Your reader has been Paul Denning. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. At 6 o'clock, we got the Wall Street Journal Off Duty. And at 7 o'clock, we got Harper's Magazine. Stay with us for these readings and more. If you or people you know shop at any of the Dash's supermarkets, please save Dash's register tapes for radio reading. Our agency receives $2 for every $100 in Dash's register tapes. Radio reading has raised thousands of dollars so far. Anyone can drop off their Dash's tapes to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service at 1199 Harlem Road, Cheektowaga, between William and Clinton Streets. Or Dash's tapes can be mailed to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service at 1199 Harlem Road, Cheektowaga, New York, 14227. Any questions on Dash's tapes for radio reading? Call us at 716-821-5555, and thanks for caring. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another